All right, good morning. This is the matter of Carson versus Carson, case number 23-01760-DM. Present in the virtual courtroom, we have both parties as well as Ms. Camfield Kuiper representing the plaintiff, Mr. Carson. Ms. Carson is representing herself. And Ms. Carson, I need you to understand, I know we've gone over this before in this case, but you do have the right to represent yourself, but the court does have to hold you to all the same rules of evidence, court rules, orders in this case, all of those things, just as if you were an attorney. So I wanted to make sure that you understood that. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And I did I did not receive trial briefs from either party. Is that correct? I want to make sure that we didn't miss something that was submitted.
That is correct, Your Honor, and I can state for the court's information, we did submit a settlement conference statement as well as the witness and exhibit lists, and I believe that my office was sharing with the court and opposing party the psychological evaluations that were received by the parties under court order, as well as the verified financial information forms that were attested to by each of the parties. And we had attached exhibits to the objection to the referee's recommended order by my client, which was to be heard today along with the trial evidence.
Okay.
And I can
I,
illuminate.
I have I have the financial information form for
Okay.
both parties, but I do not see and I do have the objection, your objection to the front of the court's recommendation. I don't have any of the other exhibits though that you were referencing.
Oh, well, let
So
me,
was that emailed?
it should have been emailed to Tyler, Your Honor.
Okay.
It may have
Do you know
been,
who would have been who would
it
have sent
should
that
have
email?
come from the office at wealthystreetlaw.com. I know those were the court ordered psychological evaluations that were conducted by Dr. Jeffrey
Kilishewski?
Kilizewski.
Kilishewski.
Kilshewski. I don't know why I can never get that name.
All right,
Um,
Ms. Van Noller, do you have those? I mean, I have to believe they would be in my digital notebook if she had them.
Correct. We just have the domestic relations verified financial form sent for both parties received this morning.
okay. I'm gonna have him email those right now because those will be important for the court.
And do you have any other exhibits?
Um, those should be it. Um, the exhibits attached to the objection were with respect to the defendant's potential to earn additional income for imputation due to her cosmetology licensing. And
Okay,
that
okay, but you
actually,
you you expect you want to admit those for purposes of trial?
potentially.
Okay, well, we would need those as separate PDFs too, if that's what your
Okay,
intent
will
is
do.
to do. All right.
Absolutely.
Is that the sum total of potential
Yes,
exhibits?
we're going to keep it to a minimum today, Your Honor, aside from testimony. That's
Okay.
correct.
All right, Ms. Carson, did you have any exhibits for the court for today?
I had them sent from the last settlement conference, so I'm sorry, I assumed that you guys still had everything I've ever sent on file. And I do have the psychological evaluation emailed to me too, but there was a note that stated that it was also sent to the court,
Okay, well,
but it
stuff
was,
happens, so
yeah.
that's why I'm starting out with housekeeping to make sure we're all looking at the same thing. Um, do you have copies of those exhibits that Ms. Camfield referenced?
The verified financial forms I got this morning, yes.
Okay. And do you have both psychological evaluations?
No, I only received mine.
Okay.
I've asked my staff to come in, Your Honor, so these can be sent to all the parties in the court.
Right. And do you have any witnesses other than the parties, Ms. Canfield?
Not at this point, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Carson, do you have any witnesses other than yourself and your husband? That didn't register. Could you say it
Sorry,
again?
sorry, Honor, no.
Okay. All right. We'll give Ms. Canfield a moment here.
All right, he's taking care of that right now, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. And I don't believe we've preserved proofs in this case previously.
We have not preserved proofs, Your Honor. I can eliminate the court. It's my understanding that at the Dispute Resolution Center mediation that was held last year, they did resolve the financial issues
Okay. Um,
with respect to everything but child support calculation and what the income of the defendant would be.
Okay. I have a statement from the Dispute Resolution Center that indicates that they settled in part, but it doesn't give any details, so we need to put that on the record.
Okay. We certainly can do so. Would you like me to do so now, Your Honor?
Yes, please.
All right, thank you. It's my understanding with respect to the real property of the parties that the home, the marital home, I'll get you the address. Will be awarded to the defendant if she is able to refinance and pay the equity to plaintiff, his marital portion of 50% to plaintiff within 45 days of the entry of the judgment of divorce. In the event that the defendant cannot refinance and pay my client his equity, the home would be sold and the equity divided equally 50-50 to the parties. It is my understanding with respect to the vehicles that plaintiff will be awarded the 2017 Ford Explorer and shall hold the defendant harmless from any liability on that vehicle. The defendant will be awarded the 2006 Honda Element and a 1991 Jeep Grand Cherokee. And she will hold the plaintiff harmless from any of the debts on either of those vehicles. The joint bank accounts were divided by the parties. Their individual bank accounts will be held and kept in their individual names with no equalization or division. My client's retirement at Edward Jones had a premarital balance of $2,784.01 that will be separate property. The remainder of that will be subject to marital division of 50% of the marital portion to defendant, plus or minus gains or losses until the date of distribution. And those shall be executed by plaintiffs preparing either a qualified domestic relations order or an EDRO and getting that approved by the court and submitted to Edward Jones. The parties have elected to both forego spousal support. And that would be forever barred. Believe that covers all of the financial and real estate, personal property, Your Honor. has already been divided by the parties, and each shall retain the personal property that is already in their possession.
All right, Ms. Carson, you heard what Ms. Canfield just placed on the record. Is that your understanding of the mediation agreement that you reached?
Yes, the only thing I would like to add is on the financial forms, those were done last year, and since October, my employment has changed, so I'm actually
Could you say that last part again? There was something, a noise, and it blocked out what you said.
oh, sorry, I had an interruption. That the financial verified form was filled out before October, but since October, I have been unemployed, so I don't have any income since October. Just wanted to.
But that's fine. But my question really was about the mediation agreement. Was everything that Ms. Canfield played, that what she just placed on the record regarding your agreements, is that all true?
I think I heard her say something about it being $2,000 for
The
the retirement.
premarital portion. That was how much was in his account before you got married.
Oh, okay.
So,
And
Ms. Carson, what that means is that the $2,784.01 would remain Nicholas's because that was his portion before marriage, and then the remainder would be divided with the marital portions.
Okay. Do you know how much that is?
At the time of your mediation, it was $44,775.99 minus that 2784.01. But it will be the entity, when you give your order to the entity, ma'am, that entity will divide the marital portion of the current balance plus or minus gains or losses.
Okay.
Okay, so they'll be ordered by the court under your prepared order to do so.
All right, and so my understanding are the remaining contested issues are custody, parenting time, and child support. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. And I think before we do that, we should take proofs to make sure that happens.
Certainly, Your Honor.
And I assume you're going to call your client
I
anyway? Okay. Mr. Carson, would you raise your right hand, please? Would you state your name?
Nicholas Carson.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Ms. Canfield.
Thank you. Mr. Carson, is it true that on or about February 22nd of 2023, you did engage the law firm of the Wealthy Street Law Firm to file a summons and complaint for divorce in this matter, sir?
I did, yes.
And at that time, at the time of the filing, had you been living in Michigan for over 180 days and Kent County for over 10 days prior to filing?
Yes,
And did the defendant also reside in Kent County for that time period?
yes,
Is it true that you were married on November 22nd, 2015 in Westminster, Colorado by somebody lawfully able to perform marriages to Saida Carson?
yes,
And in your, during the course of your marriage, you had one minor child together by the name of is it Surya Carson?
Surya, yep.
Okay, and how old is Surya currently?
She's 2 years old and almost 2 years and a month.
All right, and to the best of your knowledge, is Miss Carson pregnant currently?
No,
Are either of you members of the military?
no,
Did either of you have a pre or post nuptial agreement in this matter?
no,
And at the time you filed this complaint for divorce, you alleged that there had been a breakdown in the marital relationship to the extent that the objects of matrimony could no longer reasonably be preserved. Is that still true?
yes,
And if the proofs go forward today and we're also able to get the judgment of the court with respect to custody, parenting time, and child support, do you ask the court to enter a judgment of divorce in this matter, sir?
Yes.
Would you ever live back together with Mrs. Carson in the event that the divorce was not granted?
No.
You would remain separate as individuals?
Yes.
Thank you. No further questions for proofs, Your Honor.
All right. I assume you are now calling Mr. Carson for your case in chief.
I am, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. And you're still under oath, Mr. Carson.
Yeah.
Mr. Carson, can you please illuminate for the court what we have a temporary order in place? Is that correct, sir?
That's correct.
And what is that temporary order with respect to the legal custody of your daughter, Surya?
Shared joint custody, legal. Yep.
So joint legal custody, is that what you would like to have or what you currently have?
That's what we currently have.
Okay. Is that what you're seeking from the court?
No.
What are you seeking for legal custody, sir?
Full legal custody.
And when you say full legal, do you mean you are to make decisions only for your daughter, Surya?
Yes.
And then if you could illuminate the court just what your physical custody is currently, if any.
Currently, I have visitation anytime I can afford to go to Michigan for 4 consecutive days.
When was the last time you exercised that?
The weekend of her birthday, so January 26th through the 29th.
Of 2024, sir?
Correct.
All right. Now, we're going to go over some questions regarding to the best interest factors that you and I had previously discussed. Are you prepared to do so, sir?
Yeah.
All right. Regarding love, affection, and emotional ties with your daughter, when you are here to engage in parenting time, do you assist in getting meals for your daughter?
Yes.
Can you tell us some of the things that she likes to eat?
She likes to eat like summer sausage, like snack sausages and veggie sticks. She's kind of finicky now that she's 2, but she'll eat chicken and other things. French fries, she loves French fries. Pretty much sweets. She loves sweets too, but she's kind of picky. She doesn't really eat that much lately, but
Does she like fruits or vegetables that you're aware of?
yeah, she likes broccoli. And I don't know about fruits. I haven't seen her try to eat fruit besides juice.
What type of juice does she like?
Apple juice and cherry juice.
Have you been able to assist in making any meals, or do you eat out when you are here for your parenting time?
We eat out or Saida cooks. Yeah.
Where is that parenting time in Michigan exercised by yourself with your daughter?
We've been to Chuck E. Cheese and the parks, the Children's Museum, the zoo, the aquarium. Anything I could take her out to do. She loves the park the most.
What are her favorite things to do at the park?
Swing and slide.
Do you know what your daughter's favorite programs or stories are?
She likes to watch these informational things on YouTube that Saida plays for her, like Miss something or other. I don't know the names. There's like three different teacher ladies who sing and teach them to talk and stuff.
So educational programs,
Yeah.
okay. Do you know any books or stories that she enjoys?
She likes any books. She loves to be read too. So pretty much anything you pick up, she'll enjoy.
Have you ever taken her to the library?
Yes.
Does she engage in children's activities at the library?
Yeah, she plays with all of the toys and stuff, and yeah.
Can you describe for the court how your daughter has been affected by the separation of you and her mother?
She seems I don't know. She's only 2, so it's hard to read, but she doesn't seem as happy when we're not all together. As far as my observations, she just isn't quite as, I don't know, smiley and stuff as she was before.
How is it that you go about to assist her to help overcome those feelings or make her feel a little bit happier?
By taking her to do her favorite things and talking to her and engaging and playing.
How do you show your affection and love to your daughter?
By hugging her and telling her, kissing her, caring for her, taking her to do the stuff she likes, giving her stuff. I don't know.
How does your daughter express her affection for you?
Same way. She likes to hug me anytime I come, and she gave me a kiss the last time I was there. She always brings me all of her toys and shows me every toy she has, and she's very interactive with me every time I'm there.
How would you describe your bond with your daughter?
Strong.
I'm sorry, Ms. Canfield. I just need to interrupt for a bit of housekeeping. Apparently your office sent those psych eval appoint reports as odd pages and then even pages separately. We need them like together as an exhibit
Yes, of course, Your Honor.
in chronological order.
I don't know if we're having issues with our system. Excuse
Okay.
me. One moment. Thank you, Your Honor. Sorry
All
about
right. Sorry for the interruption.
that.
Go
It's
ahead.
all right. We were talking about bonds. You said you feel like your daughter has a very strong bond with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How does
She
she react?
she lets me hold her more than anybody else. Like any of her family that she's met or anything, she's much closer to me than even the sister of my wife who she lives with. She doesn't even let her hold her, but she runs up to me and wants to be held immediately anytime I see her.
Can you describe to me, do you feel that your daughter is bonded to her mother, the defendant, as well?
Yeah, of course.
What has some of the parenting time been exercised with your daughter in the presence of the defendant?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I'd
when,
say actually the majority of the time out there has been spent with all three of us together. It's just more convenient considering I'm in an Airbnb that's shared with strangers and hotels and things. It's better for Surrey to be in our own home when we're interacting more often, or whether we're out. Like if we go to the park and stuff, a lot of times I'll take her, but for her birthday and stuff, Saeed obviously went with us.
so do you feel that you personally are capable of encouraging a relationship to continue between your daughter and her mother?
Absolutely.
Contrarily, do you feel like the defendant is capable or willing to encourage a relationship of your daughter with you?
Mm, some days.
When you say some days, tell me what you mean by that.
Just that she doesn't always seem all that willing to do that. I don't most of the time though.
Let me ask you, has the defendant made any statements to you over the course of the last year with your separation regarding what type of visitation she wants you to have with your daughter?
Oh, she said on multiple occasions that she would be fine if I had no communication whatsoever. Just leave them alone. But then she goes some other times that she wants supervised visitations, and then other times she wants to get remarried or stay together. So I don't know. It's very wish-washy.
But she has expressed to you on occasion not wanting you around she and your daughter at all.
Yes, multiple times.
Does that concern you with respect to being able to continue a bond with your daughter?
100%. Yeah.
During the times that you're exercising parenting time in the presence of the defendant, has your daughter ever skinned her knee or fallen down and been hurt?
Yeah. Yeah. She fell down the last time I was out there when she was running through the living room.
When she falls down, whom does she seek comfort from?
Well, she came to me right away because I was closest to her. I guess whoever would be closest in the vicinity, but she was fine being comforted by me at the time.
Were you able to comfort her and get her calm after she fell down in the living room?
Yeah.
Have you seen her go to the defendant after she has fallen down or
Yes.
injured herself?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm gonna stop for 1 second, and I know it's really hard, but because we're recording this and there's going to maybe at some point need to be a transcript, if you could try to say yes and no to the best of your ability. Sometimes the mm-hms and uh-uhs are difficult to translate into the transcription. Thank
Okay.
you so much. When you are with your daughter, does she ever need any assistance eating her food?
No.
Do you have to help her cut up little pieces or anything like that?
No, her favorite thing is finger food, but like if it was a giant piece of chicken, yeah, I would cut it up or Saida would break it up.
With respect to the child getting dressed, has she ever changed her clothes or needed to be dressed when you had parenting time with her?
No, not recently. Before I left the house, yes.
Before you left the house, were you able to assist your daughter in getting dressed?
Yeah. And bath time, I assist with all of the parenting things.
Is there any special routine that's followed for, you referred to her as Suri. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
Suri's
Your
fine.
daughter?
Yeah.
When you bathe Suri, is there any type of pattern or habits that she likes to do at bath time?
Mm, no, it's usually a short, just get cleaned up or play a little bit in between, just hang out.
Have you recollection of when your daughter went to bed when you were still in the house?
Yeah.
Did you used to assist with that, or who put your daughter to bed?
I did assist. It was probably 75-25. Saida did it a lot of the time because she was still breastfeeding when I lived there.
To my knowledge and to your knowledge, not my knowledge, strike it, that's a bad way to
Hmm.
start the question. To your knowledge, Mr. Carson, is Suri still breastfeeding or is she weaned?
I think she's weaned, yes.
Would you have any difficulty determining a bedtime routine or setting one up for your daughter if you were to have physical custody?
No, I think that that's actually very important. I don't agree with the schedule that she currently has.
Let's talk a little bit about that schedule. What is the current schedule for Surrey to your understanding at bedtime?
To my understanding, it's whenever they want. It could be 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and whenever Surrey wants to wake up is when she wakes up. She runs her own schedule, not Saida.
When have you observed that?
Every time I'm there, I have to wait till 11 o'clock most of the time for her to wake up so that I can spend my parenting time.
When is your parenting time supposed to begin?
9 a.m. to 6 p.m.
And you're having to start your parenting time late at 11 o'clock?
Yeah, almost every time I'm there.
When you say almost every time, on how many occasions average would that have occurred? In the last, let me give you a time frame, 6 months.
Every time. Yeah. So, and I usually try to make it out once a month. So 6 times.
How is she when you actually take your parenting time at 11 in the morning then? How is your daughter's demeanor?
It's good. She usually wakes up happy. Um, Average, I suppose. I haven't seen her try to be woken up at 8 a.m. like a normal schedule. So I couldn't tell you what the difference is, but she seems good enough.
Would you please tell the court what type of a schedule you would create for Surrey if she was in your primary care physically?
She would wake up when I do, which is a 5 a.m. every day because I have a full-time job. We would eat breakfast. I would take her to wherever she needed to go for childcare during the week, obviously, and then I would pick her up around 3:30. We would go home, eat dinner, maybe play, do some playing, then bath and brush teeth, and maybe 50-50 TV and book time, and then sleep and start all over again. She'd probably be in bed by 8:30 at the very latest.
Do you feel it's important as a parent for a child to have a consistent schedule for waking and sleeping?
Absolutely, yes.
Have you ever, during your parenting time that you've exercised here, observed your daughter to be tired because she didn't get enough sleep?
She does seem groggy and grumpy midday, like, I don't know, probably by 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon. She seems pretty tired and ready to, she's grumpy. She's ready for bed, or at least a good nap, I guess.
Does she take naps when she's with you, she being Surrey?
I've observed her take naps 2 times in the last 6 times.
Approximately how long are those naps?
3 hours or so. I think it was at least, yeah, I think 2.5 to 3 hours.
About what time of day was she taking those naps on those 2 occasions?
It was like 5, 6 o'clock in the afternoon.
And you have parenting time from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. currently with no overnights?
That's correct. So sometimes we'd have to cut my parenting time short, but sometimes Saida would call me later. It would be like 8 o'clock at night and say, "Do you want to come back?" And obviously I have a regular schedule, so sometimes I could come back if I was off the next day, or if my flight was the next day, then I couldn't. So I just lost parenting time.
All right. Do you believe that the loss of parenting time due to those long naps on those two occasions was because of the erratic schedule with the defendant's household?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think that that negatively impacts your daughter to have such
I
an
do.
erratic schedule?
I do. I do. I don't think that she is developing at quite the same rate as I see other 2-year-olds when we go out at playing and stuff like that. I mean, obviously, all kids are different, but I just feel like maybe she would be a little more developed if she had a better sleep schedule and like a regular schedule where she was around other kids and things like that.
To your knowledge, is she engaged in any play groups or preschool activities, anything like that when she is with the defendant?
No, not at all. She says she takes her to the library every other day or the park, but not that to my knowledge, I'm not there.
But you're just going off of what the defendant has told you.
Correct. Yeah.
Has the defendant shared with you any attempt at preschool or other kid activities as a group for
Uh,
socialization?
she said for a short time she was taking her to like a reading thing at the library, but I don't think that she continued that. To my knowledge, it didn't seem like it. When we went to the library, the lady didn't recognize her.
When you talk about your daughter's skills being a little bit lagging behind other children her age, can you tell the court what differences you're observing?
She has a little bit less balance than most 2-year-olds. I don't know. She doesn't interact with other kids. She like goes around them. She's not like trying to play with them at all. And she talks, but very rarely, not as often as I've seen other 2-year-olds. Like I have cousins that are the same age and they say words more often. And you can tell that she can say the words because sometimes she'll just say them, but she doesn't regularly do it. So I don't know. That's kind of concerning.
Have you been able to speak with the defendant about that concern?
Yeah. Yeah, we've talked about it a few times.
What does the defendant say regarding your perceived delays with your daughter?
She thinks that she has autism and I disagree.
Do you believe if you had your daughter and she was on a more regular schedule, that she would progress developmentally?
I do, yeah.
What types of things would you do with her to help her progress developmentally with her balance, speech, and motor skills?
I would play with her more often than let her watch TV, like rolling the ball back and forth or like I don't know, just more active play time, less screen and TV time. And obviously she would be around kids more often if she had to go to some kind of daycare. And also I have cousins with kids the same age that they get together a few times a month.
So the extended family has children of the same age as what you're describing.
Yeah, yeah, most of my cousins do.
Can you tell us, with respect to that extended family, let's talk a little bit about the support group that you have. Tell
Yeah.
us, do you have a lot of family and friends that would be able to assist if the child got sick or things of that nature?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I'm very close with both of my parents, my grandmother, a few of my cousins, um, my uncles and their wives are both, they've all said, oh, if you had full-time custody, I would definitely love to babysit or whatever and help you out because they obviously haven't barely gotten to see her at all. So, but
Mhm.
yeah, I have plenty of family that's willing and helpful and have raised their own kids.
All right. And talk to us a little bit about the religion of yourself versus the defendant. What is your current religion?
I'm Christian. I go to church a couple times a month. I was trying to go every week, but I go a few times a month. It's a little harder now that I'm down in the Springs. It's not the same church that I was going to. So,
Okay.
but so are my parents are Christian, and pretty much everyone in my family is uh, practicing Christian, not necessarily pious and go to church every single weekend, but they all have a strong belief system.
And then with respect to the defendant, do you know through your marriage with her what her religious beliefs are, if any?
I don't think that she has any. If anything, she believes in a lot of different things at different times. I can't be completely sure. She's changed her mind a few times, and so have I, a little bit back and forth throughout our marriage. I went I was kind of more agnostic because of the marriage, and then now I'm gotten back to my roots. But she's not religious at all, to my understanding.
Can you tell me how you would intend to raise your daughter spiritually if you had parenting time or full physical custody?
Well, I would encourage her to learn all practicing religions and have an open mind, not non-biased, because obviously I don't believe that there's just one right way to believe.
So you'd allow her to be exposed to a variety of different religions and beliefs?
Oh, absolutely. Her Half of her family is Muslim. All of Saida's family are practicing Muslims, and I wouldn't want to keep her from her culture.
Would you be willing then to allow her to be exposed to Christian holidays as well as what the Muslim may celebrate?
Yeah, yeah, and that was kind of what we had talked about in mediation, was that as far as child parenting time, is I would like to have Christian holidays and that she could have the Muslim holidays, and any like non-religious holidays we could split in half. But absolutely, she should know about Eid al-Fitr here and Ramadan and all of that. Yeah,
All right. And would you allow your daughter to be exposed to both the Bible and the Quran?
absolutely. Yeah.
Well, here's the difficult question. Mr. Carson, do you think that yourself and the defendant could agree on that exposure to a variety of cultures as well as religions?
Um, Saida's agreed that she would be fine with her learning about Christianity, but she's kind of taken Christian school off the table, which I don't understand. A lot of really good private schools have some kind of religious background, and that was kind of my goal, was not for the religion itself, but just the fact that it's a private school and you have better learning and smaller class sizes. But she's said that she would be willing, but she goes back and forth, so I don't know.
Could it potentially be a point of contention that would have to go before the court
Could
as
be.
far as religious upbringing for your daughter?
It could be. Could be. I couldn't be 100% sure.
And it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Carson, you want your daughter to be able to go to private schools because you feel that can afford perhaps a better education in some areas of the country?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes. The public school system is obviously degrading, and it's proven that children aren't learning the things that they need to. So I think I would like to be able to provide private schooling for her.
And do you believe that Mrs. Carson will not agree with that?
Not if it has religious, like if it's a Christian private school, I don't think she would agree now.
Who takes your daughter to doctors and dentist appointments?
Well, since I don't live there, but when I did live there, we all went. I drove.
Are you willing to continue if you were to have your daughter more than just the parenting time you do now?
Yeah.
to take her to the doctor's appointments?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'd prefer it.
Would you be willing to take her to the dentist appointments?
Yes.
Would you keep Mrs. Carson updated as to when those appointments were scheduled?
Yes. Which she's lacked in doing for me. I don't find out about doctor's appointments until well after they've happened, or injuries until after they've happened. Like my daughter had broken her jaw and I didn't find out for 2 weeks, apparently.
Okay, let's back up for a moment. That's quite important. When did
Yeah.
she break her jaw? She being Siri.
Uh, I would have to look at the dates, but it was probably 4 months ago, 5 months ago.
In whose care was she when she broke her jaw?
Saida's.
Do you know where she was taken for treatment?
Uh, she wasn't very specific. I have the paperwork. I think it said, I don't know. It was at the top. She sent me a copy of the paperwork after I had requested it because she didn't want me to have parenting time while Suri was healing. So that's the only reason she had told me about it at all.
Were you able to come and exercise parenting time to see her after she was injured?
I did. I came anyway, yes. But she seemed okay. I didn't notice any bruising or anything. She seemed like she had already healed quite a bit, so I'm not sure as to how I don't know. I wasn't there, so it was quite frustrating.
Well, let me ask you this, Mr. Carson. Did you ask the defendant how your daughter's jaw got broken?
I did, and she just said that she fell.
Did she describe to you how she fell?
No,
Did you happen to talk to the medical providers that cared for your daughter for that particular injury?
no, she didn't give me the doctor's name or anything. She gave me like a small screenshot that said how to care for a broken jaw. She didn't tell me who the doctor was or any of that.
Did you ask her?
I did.
Were you ever provided that information even to date?
No,
Do you know if the medical facility, and this is if you know,
yeah,
contacted any outside agency regarding that injury?
I do not know. I personally contacted CPS, or I guess out there it's probably Michigan Child Protective Services, whatever. And I reported it because I was unsure as to what had happened.
When did you make that report?
Right after she had told me that she'd broken her jaw. So it was like the same day. I was quite frustrated that I didn't find out until weeks after it happened, and it just made me very suspicious.
So if it was approximately 4 months ago and we're in mid-February, would that have been approximately October?
It might have
November?
been long. I think it was August. My dates are so messed up having to go back and forth and everything. I think it was actually closer to summertime because it was nice out. I had gone to the beach the time that I came out. So
Okay, thank you for that clarification. So maybe a little longer than 4 months.
yeah, it was probably July or August.
And did you ever have any follow-up from the Child Protective Services Agency regarding your report?
No, they refused to tell me anything, and I called multiple times. They said, "Oh, we can't tell you anything." That was that was all they would say.
Do you know if there was ever any case services opened or anything with respect to that injury for your daughter?
They wouldn't even give me a case number. They said, "We can't tell you whether we found your uh whatever that we investigated it or not. We can't even tell you if there was an investigation." I said, "She's my daughter. they still wouldn't. I didn't understand that. I don't know how that works, I guess.
Over the course of the time that you've been separated from the defendant, have there been other injuries to your daughter that have caused you concern?
Hmm. I don't know. Everything she said seemed more normal than a broken jaw just doesn't usually happen to a toddler of her age, a 1.5-year-old. But she has had like black eyes and scrapes and stuff, which seem more normal to like falling down and stuff. And I've noticed she is pretty clumsy.
Let me ask you this, when your daughter Siri has been in your care during parenting time, has she ever fallen to such an extent that the impact would have broken a bone?
No, no, not at all.
Can you tell me what some of your positive parenting skills are for your daughter Siri as far as being a dad?
I think I just have a more attention to detail, a little bit more caring personality. Um, I I don't know. I that's a hard question to answer. I feel like I just care enough that I would be able to do it. Like I've done some research and stuff too as to parenting, so
What
I think
types
I'm
of
quite
things have
capable.
you done to research parenting and how children should be raised?
Oh, I've read a few books online and watched some videos.
When did you do that?
I do it periodically. I like to read, so I mean, I think the last time I read something was on line. It was called Family. I'd have to look on the internet. I saved it in my bookmarks, but it was probably a few weeks ago.
Are you trying to keep up with your daughter's developmental stages and read information pertaining to those?
Yes, yeah, correct.
Let's ask, if we could, how you would have reacted if your daughter fell and broke her jaw in your care and custody. Would you have notified the defendant immediately?
Immediately, yes, yeah,
Would
yeah.
you
And
have provided physician information to her?
yeah, and where we were going at the time, and when we got there, and how it was going, and what the doctors recommended, all of that. I feel like it's important for both parents to know immediately what's happening. It's not one or the other. We're both parents.
And for such a serious injury that required that medical treatment, did the defendant give you any of that same courtesy?
No, not at all.
In fact, you asked for the doctors and still haven't been provided that information. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's accurate.
Do you know who your child's primary care physician is?
No, I don't think that she takes her to the she takes her to the same place, but never the same doctor. And I couldn't tell you the last one that she saw or when it was.
Have you asked her to share this information with you?
Yeah, yeah. And I said that it's important that on medical decisions that we both know. And she even has like a screening for autism coming up that she vaguely told me where it was. She doesn't tell me who the physician was or anything.
Were you notified by the defendant of the date for that screening?
No, she said it was in March sometime.
So you were just given the month.
Yeah, yeah,
She told you what it was for. Is that correct?
yeah, yeah. She's been
What?
pushing the autism thing for, I don't know, since I left. I don't know why.
She will not tell you the actual date and time or the physician for that evaluation.
Correct.
How many times have you asked?
Uh, I guess I probably asked every time she brought it up, the 3 or 4 times.
Does your child ever demonstrate fear of any particular thing, like, spiders or snakes or anything like that, the dark?
No, no, falling. Like she's very, very careful about going up and down steps and things like that. She's very careful.
How do you help her deal with that fear or anxiety about going up and down the steps?
I hold her hand.
Has there been a situation in which she's had to go up or down steps while in your presence with the defendant?
Um, yeah, she was going up and down the stairs at the defendant's house the last time I was there by herself, like, which I thought was strange. They're hardwood stairs, and she's two.
Did you see the defendant try to reach out and help her or hold her hand as you do?
No, and I asked her, "What? Did you know she was coming down the stairs?" Because it was as I was leaving, she was coming down to try to get me to not leave, which is heartbreaking every time. But she said, "No, she does that all the time. Goes down the stairs by herself," which I find strange since most of the time she can't take one step. That's probably why she's laying on her belly. Like, I don't know, but I just don't think a 2-year-old should be going up and down wooden stairs with no handrail.
There's no handrail there.
No.
Let's talk a little bit about any positive parenting skills that you've observed in the defendant.
She's very good at making sure that Suri has clean clothes and she's fed anytime she'll eat. She, yeah, I mean, she makes sure that she has food and clean clothes and a clean bed. She does sanitize all of their stuff in their sleeping areas and anytime, like upstairs where she plays on her hands and feet on the ground and stuff, she makes sure that the floor is clean and stuff. So she's clean and makes sure that she has food and clothing.
Do you have any concerns about the defendant's parenting of your daughter?
Just the fact that she's not having a regular schedule and that she's getting too much screen time. I think that those are both detrimental to development.
What about her physical safety in the presence of the defendant?
Yeah. The last time we were there, we went to the mall and there was a little boy who pushed her down a couple of times and it made me angry, obviously. And I said we should go, but because it was making my daughter cry. And then when we were leaving, Saida was laughing. She said, "Oh, I just thought it was funny. That was the first time I ever seen her get bullied," which kind of brought up some concerns for me.
Did she ever step in to protect your daughter from the little boy or ask him not to push her down?
No, I did multiple times. That's
Did
why
you
I said we
talk to
needed
the
to
little
leave.
boy or his or her parent or his parents?
I couldn't tell which parent was his, but I did tell the little boy, "Hey, stop. She doesn't like that," twice. And then he still kept trying to do it. And that's when I said that we should leave because it was making her cry. And I didn't like that.
Is this like in a play area at the mall?
Yeah, the mall has like a little play area. They're on 28th Street, that mall. I don't know the name of it, but
Okay.
they have like a little playground.
Yeah. You indicated that Saida's reaction to that was more to laugh about it rather than to be protective.
Yeah, yeah. I found that concerning.
Are you concerned that she's not giving you immediate information regarding serious injuries to your daughter?
Yes.
Do you ever have to discipline your daughter? I know she's little, but
Yeah, no, at my parents' house for Christmas, obviously she's 2 and my parents have tons of little decorations and stuff. So I had to tell her no, come sit down a few times and she was perfectly fine with that. She listened to no, and when I told her to stop, she did, but it wasn't, I didn't have to yell or anything. She's a little 2-year-old girl. If you raised
Mhm.
your voice a little bit, she'd probably cry. So I just,
Okay,
as long as I say no, she was fine with it.
all right. So she listens well to when you tell her no, not to do something.
Yeah.
It sounds like you said told her to come over and kind of redirected her into a different activity.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Does she do well with redirection from you?
Yeah. Yeah. She did listen. She came and sat on my lap while we were, instead of playing with the Christmas tree.
Mhm. Are you aware of whether or not the defendant disciplines her?
I don't know that she does. Seems more like Suri runs that house than Saida.
Have you ever seen the defendant discipline Siri in your presence?
Yeah, if something's like gross and dirty, she'll tell her, no, stop, don't touch that, because Saida's a germaphobe. But other than that, not really. I mean, she does what she wants. Saida just makes sure things that she doesn't want her to touch are out of her reach, and then gives her free reign to do whatever she wants.
You said that the defendant is able to provide a clean home, clean clothes, and food for your daughter. Could you do those same things?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have age appropriate toys or activities when you see your daughter?
I do, yes.
What types of things would you have for her to play with in your home if she were able to come for, custody or parenting time?
Oh, I already have a room set up for her. It's got stuffed animals and baby dolls with a stroller and like a little sleeping thing to put it in. And I have a crib as well, which is going to be a hard transition because she currently sleeps in the defendant's bed with her
How do you know that she sleeps with a defendant?
because the defendant's told me and I've seen it personally every time I've come there, which is something that was new. She slept in a crib until the day I left.
Were you ever given any explanation as to why that sleeping situation changed?
No, no.
Do you have, since your daughter's a toddler, is your
Mhm.
is your home and her room toddler proofed?
Yeah, I even have little covers for the outlets.
Are there any dangerous items such as cleaning products or medications within reach of your daughter at your home were she to come there?
No, there wouldn't be. I mean, she hasn't been there yet, so I mean, I would move things around, obviously.
Okay. When you transport your daughter, is she in a child safety seat?
Yes. Yes.
Do you have a stroller available for her if she needed it?
No, no. Saida has one out there, but I don't have one here. I would get one, obviously.
Do you have clothing prepared for your daughter?
No, no, I don't have clothes yet. Well, actually, I do have 2 outfits that I was gonna give her the next time I saw her. But usually I just make sure that Saida has them because I don't have her enough time to have like a bunch of her clothes. I don't want to buy a bunch of clothes that she's going to grow out of by the time she's with me.
Do you have the capability of buying your daughter a wardrobe and the things that she needs if she were to come to your home?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Are you able to provide toiletries and things of that nature?
Yes.
Do you have any trouble buying groceries or providing food for your daughter?
No.
What types of activities would you do to help your daughter advance her speech and communication level?
I would probably do more like one-on-one things where we're talking about letters and stuff rather than her just watching an educational video. I feel like maybe that the words, it's harder to get down. Like, I think that doing one-on-one and hands-on, because everybody learns differently. I'd probably look up videos on how to help your kid and just work through them with her.
Do you feel that you manage your money well?
Yeah, well, as much as I can when I'm having to fly out to Michigan every month and I'm paying the mortgage and my rent. It's
Okay,
difficult right now, but I feel like once this is all settled and the house is sold and we have it all figured out, it'll be easier. But yeah, for the most part, I manage my money well.
okay. Let's talk a little bit for this, so that the court's aware of your ability to provide. Are you employed?
I am,
By whom?
yes. GRC Consulting, it's my family company.
In what capacity? What's your position?
I'm an area manager for the Colorado Springs area.
What is your rate of pay?
I make $100,000 a year.
So it's a salary.
It is salary, yes.
Are there any bonuses that you're aware of?
There's usually a Christmas bonus. It's determined by the gross income of the area that I'm going to be working in, so it'll be different every time. I haven't gotten one yet since I just got back here, and this is a new position. I used to run the entire northern division, so now I'm expanding the business into Colorado Springs, so it's a new area for me.
Okay. So no bonus yet, but there is that potential.
Yeah, yes,
It would just fluctuate,
yes, correct.
obviously dependent on company profit for that area.
Right, yep.
Do you have health insurance available for you and your daughter?
I have health insurance. I was going to get Surrey health insurance, but Saida refused to give me her social security number. Still to this day, I don't have the ability to do that, and they won't give you insurance if you don't have that. But I've priced it out and everything. It's $191 a month for me to get her dental and uh medical.
That 191 a month, would that be a family rate or is that additional for your child?
That's additional for my child.
Okay, thank you. How many hours a week do you work approximately?
Anywhere from 35 to 45,
Do you
depending
ever
on the
work,
weather.
okay, do you ever work remotely?
I do not.
Have you looked into childcare facilities or family members to do care for Suri while you're at work if you have custody of her?
I have. My mom's agreed to do a couple of days, and my other cousin who works from home, and she only works 3 days a week, has agreed to do a couple of days. So I figured if they both did some, and then maybe I had there's a few by my house that seem good, like enough for a 1 or 2 days a week. But yeah,
Okay.
I've looked into it.
All right, so if I'm understanding you correctly, there would be about 4 days a week that family members could watch your daughter, and then maybe 1 to 2 days might be a care facility.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Do you work Monday through Friday or something different?
Monday through Friday.
So you're off on Saturdays and Sundays?
Yes.
What are the typical work hours?
Usually jobs are 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. every day.
Can you describe, I know you talked a little bit about your daughter's bedroom. What type of home are you living in?
I live in a ranch style, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, 2 car garage, single family with a backyard.
Is there play equipment in the backyard?
Not currently, but there's room to put some.
Do you have any pets in the home?
I do not.
Does the defendant have any pets to your knowledge?
Yes, she has a cat.
Have there ever been any issues of the cat around Siri that you're aware of?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
She doesn't appear to exhibit any allergies, anything of that nature that you know of.
No, no. And that cat's it doesn't even come around. It's mostly in other rooms, like it avoids people.
Kind of a scaredy cat, if you will.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. How how do you keep up your home? Do you clean it on a regular basis?
Yeah, absolutely. I clean, like, I pick up every day, obviously, and then I do deep cleaning where I clean the bathrooms and the flooring and the sheets and laundry every weekend. Yeah.
Do you believe that your home and the bedroom that you've described for Siri would be a stable and safe environment for her?
I do, yes.
You've talked a little bit about the cleanliness of the defendant's home. Do you see toddler protection up in the defendant's home, such as the outlet covers, things of that nature?
Uh, no, no, she does have a baby gate, but it's rarely put up. And when it is put up, it's just sitting there against the thing. Suri knows how to move it. That's how she came down the stairs to stop me from leaving.
How many times does your daughter come down the stairs to stop you from leaving at the end of your parenting time?
She always tries to stop me from leaving, but that was the first time I've ever seen her go down the stairs by herself. I found that concerning. Usually she's in the living room when I leave. So the living room's by the front door.
You indicated a concern there was no handrail on those stairs.
Yeah, yeah. And they're hardwood, so quite dangerous.
There's no like center runner, carpet runner down them or anything like that.
No, and actually some of the nails come up and need to be pounded back down so you could step on them.
How often have you seen that happen?
Oh, I usually, when I was living there, I would tap them down once a month probably because they're old stairs. I mean, the house was built in the 60s, I think, or 50s. So, and it's original hardwood. They come up once a month, but I'm not sure that Saida pounds them back down.
Do you know if your daughter is up to date on her immunizations? Should she step accidentally on a nail?
I think that she is, yeah. As far as I know, Saida says she is. I don't know when she got her vaccinations or where she got them, but according to Saida, they did.
You indicated previously you've not been provided a social security number for your daughter by the defendant, true?
Correct, yes.
You haven't been provided the pediatrician's name?
No,
You haven't been provided an immunization record?
no,
Do you have a copy of the birth certificate for your daughter?
no. She won't give me one.
Do you know where to go to obtain that?
The hospital where she had her, I believe, but you have to have the social security number in order to get it.
How long of a period of time have you been trying to obtain that information from the defendant?
Since I left. So since January of 2023.
Have you been able to observe your daughter go to any other residences in Michigan other than the defendant's?
No, she doesn't know anyone out there.
Okay. how do you think that she would, well, let's strike that. Does your daughter do okay exposed to change in environment?
She actually did pretty well at my parents' house, and at my grandmother's house when I took her there. She wanted me to hold her for the good first 10 minutes or so, but then she started to warm up and then she would walk around and explore. And she even like was playing with my mom and dad, and that was the first time she'd met them. So yes, I think she handles change well.
How long were you there at your parents' house with Siri?
I'm gonna say 5 hours or something. Well, we went to dinner too, so it was like I think it was 5 hours.
Did Siri seem to quickly bond with her grandparents?
Yeah, she was getting there. I mean, she didn't even want them to hold her yet towards the end, but they were. She almost gave them a hug, but then she was like, "Oh no." Yeah, she's just a little standoffish. Obviously, she hasn't been around very many people. She's stuck in Michigan with just Saida and her sister most of the year. I think Saida's brought her to Colorado twice in the last year and a half.
Now explain to me how you end the court, how you ended up in Colorado. Did you and the defendant originally live in Colorado?
Yeah. So that's where we met. I'm from Colorado. I'm a native. Saida lived there when we met. We spent our entire marriage there, and our whole dating. So we met actually in 2010. So we lived there the whole time. Um, we moved to Michigan once she got pregnant because she didn't want to be around my parents anymore. Like she had once you read the friend of the court thing and the the therapist stuff that she'd had a bunch of issues with I don't know, delusions according with my parents. So she wanted us to leave. So we left. Then she had the kid. Everything was okay, but then she started being delusional about me. And then she said she wanted to leave and she was going to go back to Colorado. And I said, that's fine. And she's like, well, I can't pack all of this stuff with you here. Can you leave? I said, yes. So I came back to Colorado and I spent a week with my parents, telling them what was going on and everything and trying to rebuild the relationship that I had torn down by leaving. And then I flew back to Michigan. By the time I'd gotten to Michigan, I was there for a day, I believe. And then Saida said, oh, I want to come back to Michigan. I decided I don't want to be in Colorado. So I had already made up with my parents and planned on going back to the family business eventually and everything once something opened up. So, and I had the ability to make more money there. So it kind of messed me up there because I knew our marriage was failing and I needed a way to provide for my daughter. And I didn't think that Saida would stay in Michigan forever by herself. That seemed unrealistic. So that's kind of where we're at.
To your knowledge, does the defendant have any relatives in Michigan?
Oh, she doesn't. No,
To your knowledge, does the defendant have any friends in Michigan?
no, she does not.
And the defendant previously to your testimony indicated to the court that she became unemployed in October of 2023. Did she inform you of that?
Uh, I don't, she wasn't really employed that before that. She was doing like tarot things online. I guess she just stopped doing that. I don't know that I would consider that change in employment.
Let's talk a bit. You've spoken a lot about your employment. When you were married and living in Colorado, what was the defendant's employment at that time, if any?
Uh, Throughout our marriage, she had a part-time job after going through beauty school all the way until I want to say on and off different places. Well, she was at the same one. She never carried a full-time job, but I think like 2017 or 2018, she could only keep jobs for a month or two at a time. all the way until we left Michigan. She had a hard time staying employed most of that time because of her. Uh, she was being harassed at her works, according to her.
Did you ever go to her workplace and see any of this harassment occurring?
Oh, I went to all of her workplaces. I never saw any harassment. No.
All right. Did she graduate high school? She being your wife?
Yes,
You said something about beauty school. Did she complete beauty school?
she did. Yeah, while we were together, I worked full time while she went to school.
And after beauty school, is there any licensing test or anything that she has to take that you're aware of?
Yeah, I believe every few years she has to do the DORA thing, which is like a Colorado way to make sure that your license keeps being updated. And as far as I know, she's kept that up to date three times since she's gotten it.
And so that license is for what? Do you know?
It's cosmetology. It's not just Barbary, but she can do nails, facials, and hair.
When she was employed in Colorado during your marriage, what was her approximately rate of income?
I want to say she was making like $700 to $800 a week, and that was part time. She had quite the client list when she was gainfully employed.
To your knowledge, the clients liked her.
Yeah, yeah.
And did that $700 to $800, to your knowledge, include tips, or was that above that wage?
I think that included tips. I think there was sometimes more than that. It depends. It was very fluctuating, the hair business, because obviously you're not always fully busy, but she sometimes made even more than that. But I would say that the 700 to 800 on average a week.
For what period of time was she earning that?
So the first 3 years out of cosmetology school, she worked at Ulta. She was making that. And then she worked at the Bad Kitty salon. And she was making more than that there. Um, I want to say she was making $1,200 to $1,300 a week. She was making quite a bit of money at the Bad Kitty salon. And she worked there for about a year and a half. And then after that, she never really stayed anywhere for longer than a few months.
Are, is the Ulta store and the Bad Kitty salon located close to your home?
My current home? No. Oh, there is an Ulta in Colorado Springs. Yeah, there's one that's not very far from my house. But the Bad Kitty's in downtown Denver.
I see, okay. To your knowledge, is the license of the defendant still valid?
Yes.
And when I say the license, I should specify cosmetology license.
Yes, correct.
Now, do you have a valid driver's license, sir?
I do,
Does the defendant have a valid driver's license?
to my knowledge.
Do you have any current alcohol or drug addiction or substance abuse dependency?
I do not.
To your knowledge, does the defendant?
Not to my knowledge.
To your knowledge, has the defendant dated anyone while you have been separated?
Not to my knowledge.
Have you?
Like seriously, or I've been on a few dates, but I'm not in a relationship.
Has anybody been introduced to your daughter?
No. Not to my knowledge by her, or definitely not by myself.
Would you intend to do that?
Not with anyone that I know currently, no.
Do you swear? Or use curse
Like
words?
Curse words. Yeah, I mean, I work in construction, so I try not to do it too often, but yes, I do swear from time to time.
You do that in the presence of your child.
Uh, no, not that I can remember, not intentionally.
How about the defendant? Does she swear or curse?
Uh, I'm sure just a little bit. I think I've heard my daughter say a few curse words already, so she must.
What have you heard your daughter say?
Uh, the F word and shit.
Have you ever said those in front of Siri?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you honestly. Yeah, I don't
Okay,
think so.
all right. Is that having any effect on your daughter that you can tell other than her mimicking those words?
No, no, I don't think so.
Has there ever been any domestic violence in your marriage?
Yeah,
Okay, let me break that down. Have you ever been physically violent with the defendant?
no,
Has the defendant ever been physically violent with you?
yes.
Please tell the court what has happened.
Um, she's given me a few black eyes. Um, we had a domestic dispute when we first started dating. Um, she got a DV for scratching my face, but then it was withdrawn because I wouldn't testify against her. Um, she's tried to push me down the stairs before. Um, I don't know, just some violent tendencies sometimes. I wouldn't say it was regularly, but definitely a little bit more often towards the end there and a lot more in the beginning.
Okay. Talk about how many times she gave you a black eye.
Mm, 4 times probably.
Was that before or after the birth of your daughter?
Before.
What about the scratches on your face? When did that happen?
It had to have been like November, I think, of 2011 or 12.
Okay. When was the last time that you recall the defendant being physically violent towards you?
The week that I left, she tried to push me down the stairs, but I caught myself, thank God.
When was that? What month?
Uh, had to have been either late December or early January of 2022, 2023, right there. I couldn't tell you the exact date. Didn't write it down.
Where was your daughter at the time that occurred?
She was in our bedroom or her bed, one of the two. She wasn't in the same room. She wasn't holding her or anything.
But she was present in the house.
She was, yeah.
Was there a verbal argument or something going on?
Yeah. Yeah, we argued quite a bit the last few months. That's part of the decision why I didn't want to, like, we fought quite a bit. It was a lot of arguing. I didn't think it was going to be a healthy situation for Surrey.